Willkommen, bienvenue, and welcome to Ero's 6th season and 7th round of the F3 Championship. My name is Webbo. We are on our way to the Austrian Grand Prix for a 50% race with short qualifying, as usual. And the driver's just assembling and getting ready, and I'll talk to you a little bit now about the championship as we currently stand. No surprises with 2 wins and a 2nd place. We've got Konis is still leading the championship despite turning off his ABS, which we were all very pleased with. But with a win in the last one and 2 third places, Pangrio is in 2nd place. We've got Edzak with again 2 third places in 3rd place overall. Maciek is in 4th. With 1 2nd place, with Banks with 1 2nd place, also just behind his teammate in the Ferrari is in 5th place. In terms of the constructors, no surprises to find McLaren at the head of the leaderboard, but Ferrari in 2nd and AlphaTauri in 3rd. But it is early days in our very long season that we've got ahead of us. We're looking forward to getting going. Welcome to everybody that's joined us already. Make sure you've liked the video, please, before the action gets underway and you forget. And you've also subscribed to Ero with 7 different PlayStation divisions racing at any given time through the week. So we've got lots of action for you to watch all the way through. But make sure that your eyes are glued onto tonight's race, because we've had some crackers so far. And looking forward to another race to begin. I seem to be in Austria so much at the moment. It's almost bizarre just how many Austrian Grand Prix I've been doing. And if you want to follow me and the output that I do throughout the week, usually between 5 and 7 races a week, you can follow me on Twitter at WebboRed5. But the drivers are just enabling their setups, choosing the fuel load. I had a feeling I just saw a little splash of weather. It might be that we are heading for a slightly wet session here. Let's see if I can get hold of the first person out the pits. I think that was Frypepper, in fact, who's been working crazily hard to get us all underway without our supreme leader here to oversee everything today. We're hoping that it runs as smoothly as possible. Fingers crossed for a successful trip through the F1 2021 game, and I'm sure that the more likes we get on the video, the less likely we are to end up with any form of glitches. Jesper says rain in 5 minutes. Thank you for that, Jesper. That's very helpful. Although I think the rain has started already, so I think these first laps are going to be everything when it comes to getting the most out of this session. Frypepper then is about to start. He's got the last 2 corners to run, and he should be able to run with pretty high confidence because the rain won't settle just yet. And he heads on up the hill then to tackle turn 1 for the first time. A little bit of raindrops dropping down and rolling down the camera, and an immediate invalidation. That's the worst possible thing that could have happened to him. We've got Giroud on a lap, and the question is, will Giroud be able to keep the lap valid? Frypepper is presumably going to try and stay ahead of the rest of the field and have a second go at it. I don't know if the weather's going to be against him though. A small lockup he had on the way in, but Giroud so far holding it onto the dry line, such as it is so far. We are looking for a dry race, apparently, according to Luke, who's been very helpful. Fry does get out of the way though on this lap. Hopefully Fry will be able to go for another one, but it could be that he short fueled the car and won't get to go. But Giroud then for the line. First of the laps will be a 107.514. Then Lisa and Pangrio goes pole immediately. we've got Jesper Fay and King have put their laps in. Pachuca in third. Trying to find drivers that we can follow to the end of their laps. Is it Bankst about to put a lap in? It is P9 for Bankst. And we've got Casper just crossing the line to start his next lap. Let's see what Frypepper's up to. Can he get a lap in before the rain takes that possibility away? We may end up with a very short qualifying tonight. It could be that everybody decides that the track's not going to get any quicker and all retire from the session. But Frypepper then, he's definitely losing grip here. He will perhaps only get ahead of drivers who went very, very safe. You can see Pangrio is ahead on the circuit. DRS has now been disabled, so Fry will not get that down the start-finish straight. Got some yellow flags around. And away we go. Luke or JJ Dog. And you can see Fry has lost 4 seconds, around 4 seconds to pole through that time. And if the weather settles now, I think it's very unlikely we will see anybody going any quicker. So Luke, JJ Dog, who has 1982 at the end of his name. So an important year for me. I don't know if that's a year reference for him. But I don't know if we've got that in common. Perhaps he'll let me know. But he's claiming a potential last to first challenge here. Luke's been helping, JJ Dog's been helping all the way through the build up to the race as usual, our admin. And we were hoping for better luck because I know he's had some rough races recently. Everyone in the pits, and only Prof Chen and JJ Dog have gone so far. But Jesper saying 10 minutes until it's dry. Now, wouldn't it be great if we could skip 10 minutes on? Because I'm just hoping somebody runs out on the track so that we've got something to watch for this 10 minutes. Fry is going to risk getting out of this session. I don't know if he's just providing some entertainment for us. I think that must be what it is from Fry. So Fry is just heading into the pits now. He will risk retiring from the session if he doesn't manage to go in. And there's an important area to note. His entry to the pit lane was compromised, and he missed the entry and had to recross the line. In the race, that will fetch a significant penalty for him. So yeah, I really hope anybody watching the stream will just go out and run around for us on the track. And yeah, we've got is it Edzak? Has Edzak helped? Yes, Edzak's going to run around for us and just show us his wet weather skills while we wait. And again, he crosses the pit exit line, and we'll see. We'll see his wet weather driving. Let's watch him from outboard because I don't want to give away all his wet weather driving skills. But just Edzak, and I think Casper is coming out as well. I don't see Edzak doing better than a 109 on Inters, but we'll see. We've got a couple of very close times at the head of the field, less than a tenth between Pangrio and Giroud. Pachuca is third with Lisa in fourth, then King, Yanni, Jesper Fay. Konis has gone from the session. He's not expecting the weather to dry up at all. Kozachi, Bankst, Edzak we ride with, and Frypepper have all set times, but Prof Jen, Casper and JJ Dog, no time yet. Lisa's quite happy because he's saying it's his best ever quali result is a P4, so he's quite happy with that one. But it's going to be very different conditions for the drivers as they tackle the race. We're expecting dry weather. Very grateful to Edzak for doing some running. We may get 3 minutes of dry weather at the end of the session. I do wonder if our drivers are just going to wait in the pits and see if conditions improve. I don't know if Konis decided that they definitely won't, and is going to start from the back of the grid. Missing the apex significantly through turn 6 is Edzak, but there is usually more grip on the outside of the apex in the wet conditions. We'll keep an eye on the rain level and see if it shows any signs of drying up. The sky isn't completely overcast, so hopefully it's just a passing shower over the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg. Who else is running for us? I think King is out there doing a run. King just running on the track just behind the AlphaTauri we were riding with a moment ago. Jesper says we'll have heavy rain at the end of the session. So I'm getting different. I'm getting mixed forecast. I'm getting one person saying 10 minutes of rain for quali, and another person saying heavy rain will come at the end. We can only wait and see. We've got 8.5 minutes still to go at the session. So just missing the apex in turn 9. Okay, Lisa confirms it's not going to dry up. So why are we still here, guys? Why hasn't everybody retired from the session? Just a bit of fun to drive around in these conditions. Usually, I mean, it's not going to buy anybody anything, is it? To the end, if they don't pick up. Apparently Jeff has said the rain will continue like this to the end, so thanks for that. We'll watch our drivers then try and tackle this this ever wetter racetrack. I can honestly say I haven't had this one happen to me before, where the best track conditions were the first 2 minutes of a session. Banks is just keeping the car held on the track, but he won't be going any quicker than he's been before. Nearly 5 seconds slower than he's been before on dry tyres, of course. But if anyone fancies a run on the wets to see the time difference between them, they're usually 2 or 3 seconds slower than the Inters. Because I guess if everybody isn't going to retire from this session and save us all 6 minutes, then they could all come out and crash, I suppose. That's also possible. We'll watch Casper as he tries to get better than a 1:12.537, which was his early banker before the rain took hold. Should be a really good fight for the championship here in the race. Pangrio in second place right now, with Konis down in 8th. So we will see. I mean, we're never usually short of safety cars in Austria, of course. So many different strategy options are available to the drivers. I've seen many a different strategy work around here. Giroud is gone from the session. He's gonna make the choice to go. I think Yanni is saying that the 6 minutes are never going to end. It's Oh, we've got 5 of them left to go. Edzak's gone from the session as well. Casper is still trying to beat that time. He's only a tenth slower in the first sector, but he had a big tank slapper on the way out of turn 1. So some people, of course, voting to retire from the session. Again, Casper just treading carefully. You could get a little bit of training in here if you wanted to turn off line or turn off any braking or traction assist you've got, and get a little bit of a training session in, and then you'll be awesome in the dry if you do that. And an invalidation from Casper. We'll see what time he would have ended up with anyway. Comes over the line then. He would have been faster. That's got to hurt. He would have been faster, but for that invalidation at the end. Although, of course, that probably meant he was going slightly faster than he should have been through the exit of one of the corners. So Casper, I think, has got within him, given that oversteer moment, turn 1 and turn 4 exits, and the invalidation at the end. I think he might have what it takes to get into P12 ahead of Frypepper here. Nobody else has retired from the session. Jesper crosses the line, 3 seconds over his top time so far, which was good enough for 7th. Jesper just finding good grip there, getting the car towards the apex, doing nicely. We'll just check out Casper. Is Casper on the way into the pits? Fry's retired from the session. Casper's invalidated again, and would have gone a lot slower that time. Jesper currently 8 tenths slower than his fastest on the first sector. And an invalidation from Jesper will put paid to any attempts to better his time, even his previous wet time. Good pit entry line there from Jesper. Session is almost over. I think Yanni is just going to do an outlap, and it's about done on that outlap, about halfway round. So forgive me, folks. Running out of things to say now, as you can imagine. Times like these really badly need a co-commentator. Patuka's gone from the session. I think Jesper Fay just went from the session. But Yanni's going to go for one. Going to go for a lap. Lisa King, Kaizachi and Banks staying in the pits. So we will see what Yanni has got. It's obviously a lot slower in the rain than in the dry. Here we go then. People are deciding to retire from the session. Just 4 holdouts. We'll see what Yanni decides to do at the end of this lap. Yeah, don't talk about safety cars to me, Giroud, because I had the safety car glitch yesterday. We saw 6 before we gave up on the race, and I thought the maximum was going to be 5, but we just kept rolling. We got 1 racing lap safety car, 1 racing lap safety car, and we did see 6 safety cars, so I'd really rather not see any tonight. So I'm going to confidently predict no full safety cars tonight, please guys, just to help me out. But any other predictions? Who is gonna win this one? I think Pangrio is probably in the best position. He's obviously got great speed, being second place in the championship. There's a piece of debris on the track there for Yanni to navigate. Yanni's just touring around, and people are screaming "retire, retire, retire" from the session. But there's little point now with 14 seconds. I've got a feeling Kaizachi and Casper have gone off for a refreshment or similar break, because ordinarily people probably would be retiring here. Yanni, hopefully Yanni's going to cross the line. We'll just watch him. Here we've got some guest drivers from F4 chancing their arm tonight. That's Giroud, Lisa, and King, and they're in second, fourth, and fifth, as Lisa points out. And that should be the end of our session as Yanni finishes, crosses the line, finished practicing his wet weather driving, and we will get ourselves a race underway. Perhaps I'll put a timestamp in the description so we can skip all of that once the action happened. So, as we saw before then, pole position goes with Pangrio in the Alpha, a 107.417 in fairly dry conditions. From Giroud from Portugal, Pachuca from Finland for McLaren in third place with Lisa, King, Yanni, Jesper Fay. Konis, our championship leader, is in 8th in the McLaren as well. Kaizachi in 9th, and Banks did qualify in the mediums, so quite a good strategic move for Banks there. Then following behind on free choice of tyres will be Edzak, Frypepper, Casper, Profchen and JJ Dog. We'll start at the back. Make sure, everybody, that you subscribe to the Ero channel and you have liked today's video just while we get going. If you see something on the stream that is occurring that I haven't been able to spot, I've only got one pair of eyes, so do give me a hand. That's always very, very useful when drivers do that for us. And do let me know who you're here supporting, unless I just have drivers watching at the moment. And I'll try and let you know if we have any DNFs. I've asked our drivers just to let me know what happened or give me an update, so hopefully they will do that for me. We're going for our formation lap. Hopefully the drivers will make it through safely. Get their tyres up to temperature. Talking of tyres, JJ Dog and all the rest of the drivers 11th onwards have opted for mediums, apart from Profchen, who has gone for the soft tyre option. Casper starting in P13 here. Frypepper, I expect to make up places at the start, but that will be a little bit more difficult on the mediums. Edzak ahead. I think this is really anybody's game. The amount of slipstreaming and overtaking that's possible around Austria and caution periods, it's definitely still a very open situation for the drivers. Track has dried out very quickly, of course, between sessions. Konis had a little moment there. Oh, no, it was Pachuca. It was Konis driving through the ghost of Pachuca, who's disqualified from the session. Obviously lost the car. Weaving on a green cool track. But there's not much of a lap here for the drivers to get themselves sorted. Amazon predicting a two-stopper, soft medium soft or soft medium medium, depending on drivers' usage of those soft tyres on the first stint. But not impossible to see people run medium soft, a one-stopper if we have cautions. So it will be Pangrio on the outside of the entry to turn 1 with the clean side of the track to launch from, with Giroud on the inside, Pachuca and Pangrillo's teammate Lisa in P4. So it's start time, guys. Let's go. It's 5 lights on. It's lights out and go, go, go for Ero's F3 round 7. As the Alpine comes around the McLaren and the reverse happens on the inside of the track at the same time. Drivers just navigating that tricky first corner. Just a little bit of squabbling for position will go on now. Pachuca away and staying in 5th place. One of the Red Bulls is coming up, and I think Casper's making a big move down there on the outside. Red Bull going very wide of Jesper Fay. Look, will get good traction out of turn 3. And a strong run here, look, on Pachuca, gets up the inside and will dive down and try and hold it. Pachuca will run the outside line, try and keep traction, perhaps just lost it slightly, and the Red Bull gets away, so Jesper up to P7. Looks like King and Lisa were arguing over the same piece of track for a moment there. King ahead. Yanni is very close to the Alfa Romeo. Takes a much tighter line. The Alfa Romeo loses it, heads almost entirely straight into the pits, and Lisa out, having hit the wall hard. That means a VSC immediately for the drivers. Pangrillo and Giroud away with King at the front of this pack. But Lisa out very, very early on, seemingly running wide through turn 9, trying to recover it, and went headfirst into the barrier in the pit lane entry, and that was it for Lisa. And we lost our first driver, unfortunately, from I think around P5 he was. So a quick look before we go green again at the ascendancy. Bankst and Prof Chen up 5 places, with Frypepper up 4, as I was fully expecting Frypepper to go up places. Konis, our championship leader, down in 13th position, and that's bad news for him. We'll see if he can make any inroads onto that one. No one's made a pit stop yet. We don't have any strategy options activated. Nobody's decided to go in under this VSC, but we're back to green flag racing and riding with Giroud, who is trying to stay with Pangrillo, but the field didn't really condense any. He stayed within DRS. I think we'll get that enabled very shortly, and we'll be away. Lisa can't quite understand what happened. Well, he's going to go and revisit the stream. Lisa, you can probably see it back on this very stream. We were riding with the car behind you at the time. Giroud very close up behind the leader Pangrillo here, as they tackle the fast left-handers in the middle of the track. King just getting a little bit closer now to Giroud than Giroud is to Pangrillo. Bankst is closing tight onto the back of Yanni, and in fact has got by. Perhaps using a little bit of ERS to get through there. That's a very unconventional way through, and Yanni will now get the DRS and looks like making an attack on the inside on the way up the hill to turn 1. Cleanly through, but rode the curb on the outside, and that battle will resume. But up front, Giroud gets the inside line against Pangrillo with the DRS, of course. Pangrillo now will have that in turn. Giroud doesn't want to give up the inside line, but does eventually, as Pangrillo will now launch one down the inside. Giroud going to try and hold on. There was a little bit of a touch there, a little bit of a shot across the bows from Pangrillo, and Giroud's having none of it, and holds firm and retakes the lead as they head into the fast section, which is not great for overtaking. A bit further down, here comes Frypepper. Bankst has lost it. He's wiped out. I think he's wiped out Yanni. As Bankst lost the car, Yanni was wiped out That will definitely bear watching back again, because it looked to me like Banks lost it and just swept across the front of Yanni's car. If that doesn't produce a safety car, we'll be very lucky indeed. But before then, Pangrio is going to try and make another overtake. He does a switchback move through turn 3, and they resume their battle, heading down the hill now towards turn 4. Comfortably ahead for Pangrio. Slightly over speed through the corner, and tries to just maximise his chances. I'm not quite sure how we've avoided a safety car there with Yanni's car off the circuit on the outside. I guess the marshals have cleared it already, because we didn't see it from the perspective of the drivers here. Pangrio, fairly normally for him, has got bad connection listed. Oh, Fry, you've got a penalty as well as King here. I think King was the first of the penalties, but Fry has caught one as well. Out from the outside comes King on Giroud, and I wonder if Giroud has spent too much of his tyres, because Pangrio's getting away and now King is catching. Pangrio virtually gapping Giroud outside of DRS, not quite, but getting there, and that will only get worse the closer that King gets, and the more battles they do together. Not quite close enough for King down into turn 4, so we'll have to tuck in and hope to pile the pressure on through the 6, 7, 8 complex before getting DRS on the start-finish straight. Again, it's lap 6. Pangrio from Giroud and King, then Fry Pepper, Pachuca, Kasper, Profchen, Edzak. Kones now up to 9th, so he was as low as 13th. In fact, he overtakes Kasper and gets up to 8th. He was as low as 13th at one point, climbing back up the field now for Kones. Trying to focus on the lead here, but I think Kones is about to make a move on Edzak. But their top speed's very similar down the start-finish straight. We'll try and catch those guys in a minute, because I think these front 3 are going to start battling again. A 3-second gap from the back of King to the front of Fry Pepper's car. Tim Lisa said he had somebody hit him from behind. I think it was Ericsson, Tim. I think that's the situation. Definitely an Ericsson hit me moment there. Edzak gets by Profchen on the outside, just about keeping the Williams to his inside, uses the better traction, and it looks like the McLaren of Kones following through here. Pachuca getting a penalty just up the road from these guys. So when will we see our first pit stop from the soft runners? I think it's going to be a couple of laps yet. And JJ Dog up from the back of the grid to 10th, but a penalty is not going to help that progress. We're about to try and go 3 wide into turn 1. That would be a massive mistake. Kones rides over the apex. I'm sure would have got a warning for that one, unless he did it fully off throttle. But to the outside now, he will try and make that move. King has got up to 2nd place. He has got by Giroud up at the front, but we've got 3 cars locked together here of Edzak, Kones and Profchen. So we'll watch it from the perspective of Profchen, because I think we're about to get some fireworks from these guys. A yellow flag in sector 3. Hopefully nothing too dramatic. Yellow flag's gone away again, thankfully. Don't want any of that, thank you. So penalties starting to add up now as Giroud gets one as well. Pangrio pits on lap 7. That's a little earlier than I had expected, but there he is in the pits. So we'll look to make an undercut work here. He's dropping down the positions down to P8. He'll come out behind this group now, possibly behind JJ Dog. But King and Giroud need to try and make these tyres work. Out from the outside comes our championship leader, Kones. driving for the second race only without his ABS, and yeah, you can see he did lose a little bit of time on the brakes to Edzak, who might be a little bit more practiced, but also Edzak's tyres will be in better condition at this stage of the race. Edzak holding his line down the inside. There's not a huge amount of grip on the inside exit of turn 4 that becomes 5, but he'll try and ride around the outside here of turn 6. Just backs out in time as Kaunis was feeding him towards the grass, but Kaunis successfully making the move stick. And will we see pit stops now from King and Giroud in reaction to Pangrio? No, I don't think so, as Kaunis goes round as well. So lap 9, they will cross the line now for their tyres. And where did Pangrio come out? He's got a beautiful gap ahead of him, a 7-second gap of clear air between Edzak and JJ Dog for him to put in some fast laps now on these fresh tyres. Edzak and Profchen fighting away. No one driver hugely faster than the other, and the gap just opens up slightly now. We'll go back up to the lead and see what Giroud and King are up to. Banks gets a penalty, Casper gets a penalty, so we only now have 4 or 5 drivers without penalties. Casper and Jesper Fay went onto hards early on. So that's an interesting choice, trying to save a pit stop, potentially. King and Giroud. King goes in, Giroud makes a very late call to follow, and I feel like he crossed the entry line there, and might be likely to get a penalty out of that one, unfortunately, for Giroud, if he crossed that entry line. Bit of a problem there, as synchronized pit stops mean they come out where they do, where they went in, and Pangrio has got by and is generating quite a good lead over King and Giroud. We'll just see them pass some mini sectors, but a 2.5 second underlap, probably 2 complete seconds of undercut working for Pangrio, who's now back into P6, but obviously having made his pit stop earlier on. Frypepper gets the lead, and we'll see how things all shake out once the first pit stops have been made. Let's have a look at our penalty situation. Just 3 seconds each for any of the penalty flag drivers. In terms of stops, you can see the bottom of the field, 6th onwards, except for JJ Dog, have pitted, and 1st to 5th have not yet. Position changing, Frypepper from 12th on the grid up to P1 right now. Prof Chen up 9 places. Some very good early drives. Let's head up and see Edzak and Prof Chen still battling with Kaunis ahead. Edzak just, whoa, dive bomb up the inside of the corner there. He really sent that one from a long way back, made it work, forced Kaunis around the outside, even got DRS on the second attempt as well, which will help him get away as they enter the fast section of the lap. I mean, it's all fast, but you know, the fast turns, I should say. So Edzak now comfortably back up to P3. Pachuca is 1.8 seconds up the road, but has got but that's the target at the moment. What will Pachuca do? Will Pachuca head into the pits? We've just lost King somehow, somewhere. Can we see him on track? And JJ Dog's gone as well. So what's happened to precipitate both those drivers heading out of the field? We can see King on the racing line, having retired Luke. JJ Dog off the track slightly on the exit of 8. No one, well, certainly Kaizachi not making a pit stop here. I do wonder if any of the other drivers will, because we do have our very first safety car, and just after that was triggered. Jesper Fay makes it in. I think Banks will probably do the same thing. Perfect for soft runners right now. He will come into the pits, I'm sure. But it could be that everybody decides to do that. while there's a cheap pit stop on offer. Of course, a cheap pit stop for everybody means nothing for anyone. Luke killed himself on the curb, he said. That's why he was off track. Not quite sure what ProfGen had to do with that. Did ProfGen just find you on... sorry, what King had to do with that? Did he just find you on track and spin off himself, or was it just unrelated coincidences? Fry Pepper pits, Pachuca pits, Edzak pits, Kones pits. We've got pit stops from ProfGen, Pangrio, and that's probably going to make everybody. But no, Giroud stays out, having just fitted soft tyres. Kaizachi will hang with and see if he goes for a pit stop. I imagine he will. And of course, we've already seen pit stops from Jesper Fay and Banks. No, in fact, Kaizachi stays out. So Giroud, for the first time in our coverage tonight, takes the lead of this race that he is guesting for. Wow, almost hit the back of the safety car. Okay, so JJ Dog says that he did it to himself. That King was a long gap ahead. I just wonder why you both retired in the same piece of track, but it must have been a coincidence, or possibly King was just distracted by Ero F3. But no contact, it seems. Looks like King possibly hit the wall if he didn't hit JJ Dog's car. But it's lap 14, we're approaching half distance, everybody's made their pit stops, and Giroud has the lead of the race. Fry Pepper, that was absolutely perfect for Fry, who finds himself in second place now, up from 12th on the grid. Just goes to show that qualifying doesn't equal a guaranteed race result by any means in league racing, especially with safety cars as they currently are. We've got Edzak up 8 places in 3rd place and has been doing a lot of racing already. Pachuca down 1 into 4th, but still looking strong for the McLaren team, who head our championship right now. And Pachuca will be glad to get more points than his teammate, because Kones has generated nearly all the McLaren points so far in our championship. ProfGen is in 5th in the Williams. Pangrio, championship leader, in 6th right now. I don't expect him to finish there. I think his journey up the grid has been pretty good since the early pit stop, but he's got more to come. Kaizachi up to Kones, back where he started. Sorry, Pangrio is not our championship leader. He's our 2nd place championship holder. Jesper Fay and Banks are at the back of this one. Banks hasn't caught the tail of the safety car queue just yet, though. And we'll go back and have a look at who's on what tyres. I think the medium runners will potentially be able to make this work to the end. Let's see if the safety car decides to come in on this lap. It will. Very handily notified us from race control, just as I mentioned it. So AlphaTauri 1st and 3rd. I wonder if they will coordinate the restart for maximum effect, or the drivers aren't really talking to each other. We've lost 5 of our drivers from the outset of this one. Safety car has got well ahead. The field is very much condensing. I hope we're not going to get any accidents. It can happen if we condense the field to this degree. Giroud will have the restart, and he's still weaving. Picks up the speed, then no longer picks up the speed, should we say, and makes a start here. Has to weave to the inside because he knows he's vulnerable off the restart. Looks like Pachuca looking close to the car in front. Should get DRS pretty quickly after a restart, but the front 2 are on soft tyres, the rest of the field on mediums. Giroud perhaps slightly flattered on his track position right now. He'll be dying for another safety car to make that strategy work for him. We'll see. Here comes Pachuca then. Having got a warm-up, he'll be very nervous to see Edzak drift across in the braking zone there. I think kind of closed the gap down. Pachuca potentially had nowhere to go, so lucky to avoid contact. A bit further down we'll see Jesper Fay is on the attack now on the back of Kozachi's Haas. Very close indeed through the fast stuff. Easy to wash the car out from the Ero, and he gets underneath the Haas and successfully passed Kozachi. Good restart then from Jesper Fey. He's back on the attack and wants the race to come back to him. Fastest lap from Fry Pepper. So beautiful stuff from Fry, but 2 laps in the soft run. I think he and Giroud will potentially have to stop again before the end of this race, so they need to cooperate and get away from the rest of the field. But they're bickering, they're fighting, they're making contact. Are they? Just about. Fry then will get away, I think. No DRS activated from either driver down that straight. And Fry will hope to try and gap Giroud now and get away. He's on much younger soft tyres. Giroud's are around their midlife point. But we resume battle then. It's lap 17. We just getting towards that halfway point in the race. Fry Pepper from Giroud, half a second up the road with a new fastest lap and making an overtake on the same lap. Very successful. Let's see what Konis is up to though, because he's a tiny amount of distance behind Prof Jen. I'll keep an eye on the front. I think we're about to get an overtake from Giroud. Yes, an attempt here on the inside. Pushes Fry Pepper wide. Fry is very compromised, hits the wall and is out of the race. Oh, Fry just ridden out onto the exit curb, spun across to the inside, couldn't hold the car, and Fry is out, and I don't imagine he's going to be pleased with that one. Giroud and Fry really needed to work together a lot better to get away from the field and make their strategies work. Fry then out of this race in the Haas, and will be classified 10th. I'm expecting some sort of comment from him shortly. We've got yellow flags. Thankfully, we've managed to do without a safety car. Yeah, Fry wants to say bad words. He's restraining himself so far. Got a pit stop coming in from Kozachi on 12 lap old mediums. While he then gets a penalty on the way into the pits. Fry will be cheering him on and asking him to finish the race, not retire, because there's 2 points on the table right now, a possible 3 if he gets a fastest lap. Pangrio making a move on Edzak. Pangrio up to 2nd place now then, and his resurgency in the race continues, but his championship leader is just 2 places behind and can see him down the straight. Pangrio not letting Giroud get away, and is now in fact in the DRS zone of Giroud's car. So strategy, the race moving away from the advantage Giroud had here. Pachuca gets another penalty. Jesper, new fastest lap. Now that Fry's out of the race, someone else has a go at that fastest lap. And Giroud then in the lead, but with a pit stop to make. Pangrio in 2nd place. Giroud would have been begging the race control to launch a safety car after Fry's retirement. You can just imagine him on the radio. A car is stopped in a dangerous position. Safety car, but Giroud defends to the inside from Pangrio this time. Pangrio trying to use the outside line now. I don't think he's sufficiently far ahead, so he will try and duck back under and try and get through turn 7. No, just staying with Giroud's car this time. Edzak, another penalty. So the race coming towards Pangrio and Konis, our championship leaders here at the moment. If they can keep themselves within track limits, they'll be on for a very strong result, as will Jesper, and Prof Chen could gain places, except there he is, just getting a penalty exactly as I say. Wow, big moment for for Giroud on the soft tyres. I think it's time to go in the pit. Giroud from behind them. Round comes Konis, getting by Edzak. So our championship leaders, Konis and Pangrio, making synchronised overtakes on the same straight as they move up towards the front of our field, and the cream is rising to the top of the milk. Giroud, I think, just going to try and hold the car together and head on into the pit shortly. I think a new set of mediums will allow him to push to the end. We'll see what choice he makes, though. Will this be a pit stop for Giroud? He's far away from the pit entry here. He is going to duck into the pits, but he's going to cross the entry line again. So just flirting with disaster is Giroud. He will drop to virtually the bottom of the field and will be on similar age mediums to Kaizachi. Yeah, medium tyres going on, and away he goes. P8 for Giroud right now. Konis then has caught Pangrio, and this is the championship rivals battling together. Equal machinery, equal tyres. This one should be a great battle to enjoy for the remaining 14 laps of our race tonight. So stay with us, because this is exactly what we wanted to see. Our two championship leaders coming together on the track and able to duke this one out to the end. Really can't wait to see what these guys have got to give us in terms of a race. They're getting away from Jesper, but Jesper has got right up there into P3 and got past Edzak, who's had a really bad 2 or 3 laps. Edzak with penalties getting past, and Jesper will have perhaps the second best view in the house of our championship leaders, Pangrio and Konis, in reverse order in the championship as they are on track right now. So Konis just keeping an eye on Pangrio. Will he launch one down the inside? He will. He'll be the tiniest amount ahead as they cross the DRS detection line. Does that give the DRS to Pangrio? Neither of them using DRS down here. That's confusing me a little bit. I thought Konis was slightly ahead on the detection on the entry into turn 3, but Pangrio getting back ahead again. So he knows where to push. He knows where he can be comfortably able to allow Konis to come by. So Pachuca about to make a move here as well. Pachuca and Banks close behind Edzak. Edzak really having a tough time on these medium tyres. I wonder if he has generated a flat spot, battling too hard, run off track potentially, cost himself some tyre performance. But Konis and Pangrio will now barrel down the exit of 1, the nothing corner of 2, towards turn 3. Pangrio gives Konis the outside again. Konis through before the DRS. We get a fastest lap from Giroud. Interestingly, Kaizachi has put on hard tyres with 12 laps to go. That's an odd choice. This time Pangrio does get DRS on the second zone, but not enough to challenge Konis, and we'll see now whether Konis had more inherent speed in the car than Pangrio did, and whether he was being held up. Half a second is your gap. What will Pangrio have to say about this? The time coming down slightly through the fast section of the track, out of the final corner. Now, which of these two drivers can hold their nerve to the end and not get a penalty? Edzak pits, 9 lap old mediums. I do strongly suspect that those mediums had enough a lap or two ago, strangely really for him, but potentially a soft run at the end, fastest lap attempt. Will we see? Yep, softs on Edzak's car, comes out behind his teammate, and the AlphaTauris will be quick at the end of this race with 11 laps to run. Konis just inching away from Pangrio. Pangrio is struggling to stay with him. I think Konis has been holding on to a little bit of tyre performance, so was very patient coming through the field. saved a little bit back for the end, and we'll check out, shall we, have a look at the telemetry situation. I forgot to leave the telemetry on. That's an Ero new standard to have telemetry showing all the time, so my apologies to our Supreme Leader. I hope he forgives me. But Pangrio now on roughly similar amounts of ERS to the end of the race, and this time Konis gets away significantly, 1.5 seconds, so we'll try and keep watching that, and we'll go to one of the closer battles, this one between Bangst, and there's a ghosted lapped car, I think there, of Kaizachi, who's running a little bit quicker than them at the moment, but not involved in this fight. So Bangst, quarter of a second behind Pachuca for the battle for 4th position here. So a very strong points haul on the cards for McLaren. We've got 9 complete laps to go in this one, and we'll have a look who's got the fastest lap currently. Excuse me. So Giroud on new mediums has got the fastest lap currently at 105.239, which obviously some of the drivers didn't do in qualifying. In fact, I'm not sure anybody did a 105.2 in qualifying with our bizarre session we had there. Gap to the leader. Edzak is 23 seconds. Kaizachi is out, and that was a massive moment for Jesper Fay. On the way out of the final corner, smashes into the barrier. Not the first time we've seen this. Again, the final corner biting the drivers, and he smashes into the wall. That's all she wrote for his race. Unfortunately, we lose Jesper Fay. So a safety car, and Giroud got the notification of the safety car early enough to put new softs on. He's managed to take the first pit stop, so we'll presumably gain some positions back. As the head of the field here, Konis has to drive to a delta. Can't believe we lost Jesper Fay at such a late stage of the race. 12-lap-old mediums should have had a little bit of life left in them, but most of the drivers will be very pleased to see that safety car come out, and they can now all go onto softs for an 8-lap sprint or less, depending on the safety car duration, on soft tyres, and try and all have a fair shot at fastest lap tonight. Konis in, Pangrio in. No surprises to see Pachuca, Bangst. I am surprised. No, yes, but no. Did I just see a blue car going past the pits? There's some debris from Jesper's car there on the exit of the corner. Edzak, will Edzak pit? He will not, because he only recently put softs on, and Kaizachi somewhat out of the race for position, but able to get some points towards the end of this one. He's going to approach the safety car. He's going to go on by the safety car and be able to unlap himself. So he'll be right at the back of this field, but that's only P8, so points are available already. Konis has found that safety car. So our order now becomes Konis. This is lap 28. Konis from Pangrio, as we have in the championship order, from Bangst, Edzak, Pachuca, Giroud, up to P6 now, with that very early quick pit stop on the safety car notification. We've got Pachuca between the AlphaTauris, Prof Chen in 7th, and Kaizachi at the back of the grid. And I do wonder, this might be a good test for us now to see if it is in fact the rearmost driver catching the safety car that triggers the safety car to come in. It is my sort of working theory that that's why we have extended safety car periods sometimes. But thankfully, whilst this is the 3rd safety car, that is not as many as I saw yesterday on a race. And we got locked into a safety car glitch. But right now, just 7 laps to go once they've crossed the line in a moment. Safety car will stay out, as Kaizachi is roughly half a lap away from the back of the tail. Still some debris on the exit of the final corner, turn 10. But while Konis was getting away from Pangrio, this has brought him straight back up to the back of him. So again, I do wonder whether on soft tyres that will change the dynamic handling of the two drivers' cars, depending on their setup and how much of a fight they're willing to put up to this one. Will Pangrio be happy with the second place points? I don't think he will. I think he'll be gunning for first to try and get ahead of his team, his main rival in the championship. He needs to make up ground if he wants to challenge for this title. Konis obviously wanting to defend and extend his gap. Bankst, well, presumably Bankst hoping to try and get both of them, but with a penalty, I think his best hope really here is that Pangrio and Konis either come together or make a mistake, and he gets to breeze on by. So Kaizachi is starting to arrive at the back of the field. Bankst has got a 6-second penalty, so he's got quite a job to get 3 seconds away from the car behind. The safety car will be in on the end of this lap. Final warm-up is happening for the drivers, and there you can see, I think everyone is on softs. Is that right? Everyone on softs apart from Kaizachi, who's going to take the start on hards. So let's see how Konis decides to make this one move in terms of position changes. Lots of cars up 7 places, so one of them will need to make an extra place. Edzak potentially will be able to make an extra place. Konis launches. We go green in Austria for a 7-lap sprint to the end, and away we go up the hill to the first braking zone. Who's warmed their tyres up? Who's safely through the first corner? Oh, we've got, is that Edzak turn round, or is it Giroud? It's Giroud. Giroud, just as I said, who's got their tyres up to temperature. It looks like Giroud did not, and down to P8 he goes. Pangrio is staying with Konis at the front though. So I say, if Edzak can make up 1 place after penalties, he would get the Driver of the Day award. But Konis looking like he can stretch out a lead. Should be that the cars managed to recover all their ERS for this 7-lap run at the end. It could be, of course, that when Konis got away from Pangrio decided to just drop back and save some tyres. I might be being kind to him, I might be being harsh to Konis, but we'll see. Bankst's mission is to get 3 seconds away from Edzak, but that's not looking particularly likely. But Pachuca could be slowing Edzak down here by getting tucked right up behind. They should get DRS shortly. Will we get DRS? No, not on this lap. It's a strange one. And down into turn 3 goes Pachuca, looking for a supreme McLaren finish to this race. No DRS on this lap, so he can hold on to this place and try and consolidate that gap. Pachuca up another place, then up to P4. Prof Chen has got up 8 so far to the end of the race, but we'll go back to our penalty view. We know that everyone's on soft tyres apart from Kaizachi, but the penalties will really come into their own at the end of this race. Giroud is catching Kaizachi, but is away back just at the moment. And it looks like Konis has got away from Pangrio. We do have DRS now on the racetrack, so 4 laps to go with DRS. Unfortunately, it's come too late, and everyone has got gapped out from over a second. Pachuca gets us another penalty up to 12 seconds. That's going to put him right at the back of the grid if he can't make some more headway or rely on other people making mistakes. But so far it's our top 2 on the race, our top 2 in the championship, who have not got a penalty at this point. So let's see, in terms of gaps, Pangrio has been gapped. Konis getting away, but Pangrio might be saving his tyres for the last 2 laps. Banks then 0.4 of a second behind Pangrio. You can just see him ahead of Pachuca here, who in turn is 0.4 behind. So a 3-way battle for the podium final positions on the road at least. I don't see Banks being troubled by Pachuca with the penalties, but Edzak could still get up there if he can keep the car within track limits. No. No, he can't, because there we go, another penalty. So that equalises him to Profgen behind and Banks ahead. That could be tremendous news for Banks. Banks should hold on comfortably now to this third place, whatever Pachuca does. But Pachuca wanting to make a move up the grid, and Banks would do well just to let him go, because he'll just slow him down here. Jesper just apologising to Pachuca, I think, for an incident in turn 3. I'm not sure at what stage of the race that was. He said he misjudged the speed going into the corner, presumably hit him from behind. Pachuca then 0.3 of a second behind with 2 complete laps to run. Konis out there stretching his lead at the moment. Pangrio, I don't think, has got an answer to Konis' speed at the end of this race, but Pachuca has something to say about Banks. There's a DRS train forming. Pachuca taking the outside line, looking for a switchback, better traction, good minimum corner speed, and he'll try again. He's got very little ERS left to battle with. Banks has more, so Pachuca going to be wanting Banks to get away from the back of Pangrio. That's what's saving Banks' third place right now on the road. Banks just running over that turn 8 apex. That will get him a penalty if he's not careful, and he really needs to be careful. Another penalty for Kaizachi, who's currently in 7th place. Giroud hasn't got much of an answer for Kaizachi's pace. I wonder if Giroud caught some floor damage going over that sausage curb on the exit of turn 1, explaining his lack of speed, but he's heading into the pits again right now. Will this be another attempt at fastest lap? Pachuca closer than he has been on a couple of laps before, but still the trouble for him is the DRS from the back of Pangrio's car on Banks' car, allowing him to keep his top speed high. Banks goes to the inside, Pachuca to the outside, loses the car slightly, holds on, saves it, goes around the outside. Beautiful move from Pachuca at the end of this one, with the fastest lap currently riding with Konis. But there you can see, I think Pangrio is no, that's not Pangrio's car. Yes, it is. He's on. He's actually lost control of the car. It looks like. It's like Pangrio is driving on AI here and is heading into the pits. His AI has decided to pit for him. I don't understand. We start the final lap of the race and Pangrio down to P6, possibly even further back. What's going on? Why has he gone this far back? Why has he must have temporarily disconnected, but his AI decided to pit for him. That's big for the championship. That's really big for the championship, because now Konis is going to get way away from Pangrio in the championship, maximising his score so far. Pachuca's now up to 15 seconds of penalty. That will see him drop down to P5, I think, at the end of this one. So there will be delay as I announce the finishes as they head on towards the checkered flag. But it looks like Konis has got this one easily in the bag and will stretch his lead considerably in the championship. Konis then, the Austrian Grand Prix, round 7. Konis wins. For McLaren. Banks will get 2nd place, somewhat of a surprise for him, I think. Profgen in 3rd place on the podium, so Konis, Banks and Profgen, then Edzak, Pachuca down to 5th place as predicted. Pangrio's AI car, will it hold on for 6th place? I believe it will, because of the penalties of Kaizachi. So Pangrio 6th place, shocker of an end for Pangrio's car. Yeah, he said the session kicked him on the last lap. I don't know if the stewards can do anything about that. Profgen with the strongest drive of the day, up in the Williams, but in terms of pace, of course, the strongest driver was absolutely Konis again tonight. He's riding away with this one in the championship, despite turning his assist down. Champagne time for Konis. Beautiful stuff. There's Banks in the Ferrari. I'm sure he'll be very pleased to get second after looking like he was on for third at the end. And I think it's Edzak got Profgen in the end with the penalty difference got that lap. Giroud just took the maximum points away from Konis on the final lap. He got a 104.6, so beating by 1/10 of a second. So it's Konis and Banks and Profgen, as we've said 3 times now, from Edzak. Pachuca, Pangrio dropped to the end, down to P6 after he got kicked from the session. Giroud, Kaizachi were your finishers, and then we lost Jesper Fry, King, JJ Dog, Casper, Yanni and Lisa very early on with that crash on the end of lap 1. So a big day for the championship, a big day for Konis and his bid to get away from the rest of the field and to stamp his authority on this F3 championship. I don't know whether he'll prefer to be promoted or hang on and take the title and be promoted next season. But thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in, for watching with us. I hope you've subscribed by now. I hope you've liked the video and have reminded yourself to come and tune in same time next week. Remember, if you want to see my races, I am at WebORed5 on Twitter. And thank you to everybody who has contributed to the running of the league this week and setting up our session today. It's been a great race, and we will all catch you on the next race day.